Hello, I am Prashant. I welcome you all to Educational Stuff by Prashant Konala. Today we'll be having a glance on the headlines of the Indian Express newspaper and also some of the articles of the editorial page. The first headline is regarding the martyrs, their sacrifices. Our martyrs' sacrifice won't go in vain, as a Prime Minister wants India but will give befitting reply if provoked. This is regarding the martyr sacrifice. Prime Minister observes a 2-minute silence at a video conference with chief ministers. And Chinese firms to lose India business in railways, telecom. He said that he would take a leave and come home for his wedding. This is the last time Sepoy Ganesh Ram Kunjan was home in January. His family fixed his wedding to be held later this year. At the time he said that he would take a leave and come home for his wedding, but unfortunately he had passed away. Delhi draws hard line for China, impacts ties, take corrective steps. Beijing says India should investigate clash, not misjudge situation. Major General hold talks on grounds, all forces put on state for high alert. Unlock, a way forward, PM to CMs. Delhi Health Minister Jain, MLA Atish tests positive. Why Bengaluru COVID count is least among big cities? We'll have a discussion on this. We'll just have a glance on this. As the curbs is a note of caution. This was explained in the explain page. At 827 cases and 43 deaths as on Wednesday, Bengaluru has the lowest COVID burden among the cities with population of 10 million or more. Sample this, Mumbai had 60,000 positive cases and around 3,000 deaths. Delhi around 44,000 cases and 1,800 deaths, and Chennai around 34,000 to 45 cases and 42 deaths. Epidemiologists say central to the city's COVID-19 control program has been in continuing practices of quarantining positive cases and identifying contacts with 24 hours of positive test result, a practice many of the other metros have struggled to keep up with as number of started swelling. This is regarding the why Bengaluru count is least among the big cities. This is a continued part regarding our martyr sacrifice won't go in vain. The Supreme Court sacrifice of our martyrs will not go in vain. Whatever may be the situation and circumstances, India will firmly protect every inch of the country's land and its self-respect. As he said, the echo similar remarks by the Prime Minister after the terror attacks in Uri in 2016 and Pulwama in 2019, following which Indian forces crossed the line of control to strike at terror launch pads in Pakistan. While Modi did not refer to the China directly in his remarks, the reference to Galwan Valley made it clear who he had in his mind. He also referred to the Delhi understanding with Beijing that differences should not become disputes. India is culturally a peace-loving country. Our history has been that a peace-loving country. The ideological mantra of India has been Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. In every era, we have wished for peace and welfare for entire world and humanity. We have also always worked closely with our neighbors in cooperative and friendly manner. We have always wished for the development and welfare. Whenever there have been differences of opinion, we have always tried to ensure that those differences never turn into dispute. We never provoke anyone, but we also do not compromise with the integrity and sovereignty of our country. Whenever it was needed, we have demonstrated our strength, proving our capabilities in protecting and defending the integrity and sovereignty of the country. He said, sacrifice and endurance are the part of our national character, but at the same time, bravery and valor are also equally a part of it. His tough decision remarks assume significance given that the top BJP leaders have so far refrained from commenting on the line of actual control developments. Modi himself had invested heavily in building ties with China. From the time he came to the power in 2014, he and President Xi Jinping have met at least 18 times. These include one-to-one meetings in each other's country and on the sidelines of multilateral summits. Modi had visited China 5 times as the Prime Minister, the most by an Indian Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's remarks came after his meeting Tuesday night with the top cabinet colleagues, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, and External Affairs Minister Jay Shankar, all of whom are the members of the Cabinet Committee on Security. The meeting was learned to have deliberated on India's response to the Galwan Valley incident. Rajnath Singh too said that the nation will never forget the bravery and sacrifice of the soldiers. In a Twitter post, Singh said, "The loss of soldiers in Galwan is deeply disturbing and painful. Our soldiers displayed exemplary courage and valor in the line of duty and sacrificed their lives in the highest traditions of Indian Army. The nation will never forget the bravery and sacrifice. My heart goes out to the families of the fallen soldiers. The nation stands shoulder to shoulder with them in this difficult hour. We are proud of the bravery and courage of Indian brave hearts. This is a continued part of our martyrs' sacrifice won't go in vain." New Delhi draws hard line for China, impacts ties and take corrective steps. This is the curbs by the Delhi for China. In New Delhi, center caps COVID tests at Rs 2,400. 2,414 new cases and 67 deaths. This is regarding the price of the COVID test for the private hospitals. Stop harassing doctors, filing FIR, stop court to Delhi gout. 2 stabbed at Kehri Daula toll. Heat Hurdle is using railway coaches, campuses of spiritual center as COVID-19 facilities. Gout explodes setting up AC at South Delhi facility. A renovation at Taj may affect plans. Regarding the at Radha Somaya Satsang Bias campus near South Delhi at Bhati Mines area. With the capital soaring heat emerging as the obstacle in using the isolation coaches of railways for COVID patients, authorities are exploring the possibility of installing a central AC system at the proposed 10,000 bed makeshift facility inside the campus of spiritual organization in South Delhi. The temperature in Delhi has remained on the higher side over the last few days, crossing 41 degrees Celsius on Wednesday. At the campus of Radha Somaya Satsang Bias near Bhatti Mines, authorities plan to create at least 100 enclosures and 100 beds each and have explored the option of installing large air coolers. This is regarding how they are using the heat hurdle in using the railways coaches for COVID-19 facilities. Don't hold board exams, is order to HRD Ministry. Composer strangled to death, to held. A 24-year-old Bhojpuri music composer was allegedly strangled to death by 2 of his associates at his house in Dwarka over the money dispute. A police said that the incident took place on June 8th. According to the police, the accused wrapped the victim's body in a blanket and hid it under the table before looting a musical instrument and fleeing to Bihar. The victim, Mukesh Chowdhury, hailed from Bihar and owned a music studio who had ran from the rented flat in Dwarka Mohan Garden. Regarding the composer who was strangled to death and the persons were held. Monsoon to hit Delhi on Monday, a week earlier. IMD forecast normal rainfall at northwest India. Disclosing names against the rights accused, says police. 2 railway cops arrested for raping minor girl. This is a very gruesome incident. Plea challenging a deduction of 1 day salary for PM fund dismissed. Plea means a statement. The Delhi High Court dismissed a plea challenging the deduction of 1 day salary of the Delhi University teachers as contribution to PM care funds. While dismissing the petition of a division bench of Justice Manmohan and Justice Sanjeev Narula asked itself a question: wouldn't a stone-hearted person only challenge the decision to deduct the day's salary for pandemic? The order was passed in the letters patent appeal, whereby the appellant Professor Shrikant Gupta writ petition challenged the reduction by the respondent of Delhi University. Food relief. With a large section migrant workers back in the home states, the opening up of economic activities and focus shifting to tackling COVID cases, food distribution operations in the city by the government are winding down. Food relief operations wind down. Those yet to find jobs look to take other option. Regarding the food distribution stopped at several schools since May 31st. The road of well-being, organic lifestyle. Live the organic life. Hydroponics and aquaponics are the new trends in organic agriculture practice that help to grow organic food with soil-less farming methodology. This is this particular page. LAC showdown. LAC means line of actual control. Humble, a leader who took care of his juniors. This particular article or the page is regarding the colonel who was martyred recently. The commanding officer of 16 Bihar regiment, his seniors and his fellow Telugu speaking officers in the army, Rikal, was known to be humble, soft person and a leader who took care of his juniors. One of the last conversations with Babu, an officer recalled, was regarding the school admission of his 2 children at Secunderabad, where he was posted next, as he looked forward to serving in his home state. His remains arrived in Hyderabad Wednesday evening. Colonel Babu's wife, B. Santoshi, and his 2 children, Anirudh and Abhignya, who have been living in Delhi, reached Hyderabad Wednesday morning. Colonel S. Srinivasa Rao, a senior colleague who is from the same town, said that he was a leader who took care of his juniors. He was down to earth and not at all an aggressive nature, a very soft spoken man, always cool and calm. He was the topper of the batch from the school to NDA and IMA, young and energetic with excellent track record. He was commanding the battalion, said the colonel. When contacted, Colonel Arun Kulkarni, the principal of Sainik School, said that Colonel Babu was an active participant in the alumni activities and stayed in touch with his teachers. He was very forthcoming to help the school. He is a big role model for the students after valiantly fighting the enemy in the highest battlefield, the principal said. Papa said everything out of our capacity, but not the army. Tiharu Ramkunjan got a call informing about his nephew's death from the unknown number on Tuesday afternoon. Before I could understand what was happening, the call got disconnected. I had since made an umpteen calls to the same number and all have gone unanswered. Ganesh Ramkunjan had come home in January for his engagement. The eldest son of 3 siblings, he joined the army in 2011. As soon as he finished his schooling, he always wanted to join army and prepared himself well, said his father, Itwari Ramkunjan, a 46-year-old. For the tribal family of paddy farmers from Githali village in Kanir, there was no hesitation in sending the eldest son to the army. We had to send him to do something, either college, which cost money, or what he really wanted, which was dangerous. I had hoped that it would take him a couple of tries to clear the entrance, but he cleared in the first attempt, said the father. This particular page is regarding the martyrs who had left their lives in the line of actual control between India and China clashes. The one statement was Marte Marte Mare Hai. The 20 soldiers who died came from 11 states, while the Colonel B. Santosh Babu was from Telangana, the others from Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Jharkhand, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, Himachal Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. It was the India fighting back. This is the heart-touching moments. And this picture is from the family of Sipai Rajis Orang after receiving the news of the death at Belgari village in Bhirabhum district on Wednesday. All party meet tomorrow. Sonia Rahul target PM amid opposition call for united front. Prime Minister Modi had convened all party meet on Friday to build much needed domestic political consensus on the explosive situation at the border with China. The announcement on the meeting to discuss the situation in the India-China border areas at 5 p.m. on June 19 came after high-level political consultations. Presidents of various political parties would take part in this virtual meeting, is the PMO on Twitter. The first contact between the opposition, which had criticized the government for not taking it into confidence on the violent incidents in Ladakh in which 20 Indian Army personnel lost their lives, and the government came on Wednesday morning when the leaders of opposition in Rajya Sabha spoke with the Defence Minister. Inflection point in ties, time for Delhi to make a policy reappraisal. Officer in charge of the sector in 2010, China move is premeditated. This was said by officer in charge sector in 2010. The China move is always a premeditated move regarding the line of actual control deaths. 3 MLAs quit, NPP withdraws support to BJP, gout in Manipur. Karnataka announces random testing for effective surveillance. Indo-based businessman held for GST evasion worth of rupees 233 crores. And this is the editorial page of the Indian Express. There are 5 articles. Let's discuss this article. Facing the incursion. China has changed its tactics, not goals. India needs to demonstrate strong national power. This is written by Ram Mahadev. Engagement at this scale between the armies of India and China has taken place after more than 5 decades. The last minute the two sides engaged in a violent clash was in 1967 in North Sikkim. The China had rejected the erection of the barbed wire fencing along the Indo-Tibet border and attacked the Indian company commander, seriously injuring him. In a strong retaliation by the Indian side, over 400 Chinese soldiers had been neutralized. The Indian side too had suffered 88 casualties. A smaller skirmish broke out between the patrol parties of the two countries in 1975 near Tulungla in Arunachal Pradesh, in which the 4 Jawans after the Assam Rifles were martyred. In the clash in the Galwan Valley this week, both sides have suffered casualties, and the China side does not disclose the number of their casualties anymore. The Indian tradition is to represent the valor and martyrdom of every single soldier. The entire nation mounts the sacrifice of those valiant soldiers who have lost their lives challenging the Chinese aggression in Galwan Valley. Between 1967 and 2020, China has changed its tactics, not its goals. It has ended up with a bloody nose in its border conflict with the Soviet Union. In 1969, wearing Mao's Red Book, PLA soldiers had tried to illegally cross the Ussuri River and enter the Soviet-controlled Zeboa Island. In the Soviet retaliation, the Chinese had suffered over 250 casualties, after which the China had promptly entered into a ceasefire with the Soviets. The last war that China fought in 1979 in Vietnam. In the last 4 decades, China adopted the Sun Tzu formula, that is, the supreme art of the war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. It has resorted the area expansion and domination tactics using the numerical superiority and military aggression. It continued to nibble away at our territories through aggressive patrolling and continuous border violations. In the last 1 decade, more than 1,000 such border violations have been recorded. That there has been no violent clashes between India and China over the last 5 years. Post 2014, a policy shift had been witnessed at Chushul in 2014, Doklam in 2017, and Galwan Valley and Pongong Solek. And now, unlike in the past, our border security establishment activity engages and physically prevents incursions by other side. We remove illegal constructions like jeep tracks and listening posts. Indian troops have destroyed a watchtower and a camera installed on PLA hut in the Deep Sung Plains area in September 2015. In a 72-day standoff at a Doklam Rai junction between the Tibet, Bhutan and India, the Indian forces together with their Bhutanese counterparts stalled the construction of the road by the Chinese that would have shifted the Tri junction southwards, affecting India's strategy. The decades can be partly attributed to India's insistence on diplomatic engagement and physical disengagement. The result was that the contentious portion of the line of actual control, like the Galwan Valley and Pongong Solek formations, were patrolled by both sides without engaging with each other. During this period, the Chinese side had nibbled away at the Indian territory in several places. Traditional grazing areas of the people of the upper reaches in the Ladakh have been encroached. The latest flashpoint in the confluence of the Galwan and Shyok rivers is one such location where the Chinese had to build motorable rough tracks to claim Indian territory. While the nibbling by China was ongoing, the Indian side preferred diplomatic engagement, entering as many as 6 bilateral agreements with China in 1988, 93, 96, 2005, 2012, 2013. While these agreements were full of the usual homilies about peace, diplomacy and dialogue, they failed to address the main dispute over the line of actual control. India had also lost an opportunity in 1993 during the Prime Minister Narasimha Rao's visit to Beijing, when two countries signed a peace and tranquility agreement. India had proposed to insert the word existing before the line of actual control, thus pinning down the China to agree the concurrent position. The wily Chinese side refused to do so, and we quietly signed the agreement. Later, when the Chinese had infiltrated and pitched tents 19 kilometers deep inside our territory in the Deep Sung Plains areas in 2013, Prime Minister Manmohan meekly repeated the same old defeatist argument that the Chinese have different perception about the line of actual control. It was a music to Chinese ears when the Prime Minister Xi speaking in the parliament in December 2013, said that there are some intrusions accordingly to us, but the Chinese perception on the line of actual control sometimes differs. Therefore, I think some of the confusion is created. His colleagues and then External Affairs Minister Salman Khurshidi had tried to downplay the incident by describing it as a local one. Incidentally, this local commandment is cleverly used by the Chinese side to shift the onus away from Beijing and allows for the perpetuation of illegal border violations. The incursions in 2013 were as bad as they are now. The Chinese had refused to dismantle the tented camps that they put up in a deep inside our territory. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had maintained a story of silence for the 2 full weeks despite repeated questions from the opposition. The final agreement between the two sides that had led to Chinese withdrawal of 21 days was shrouded in secrecy. The media had reported that Indian government had agreed to destroy the bunkers of Indian Army had built a Chumar area. Post 2014, a policy shift that has been witnessed at Chusil in 2014, Doklam in 17, and Galwan Valley and Pongongsu Lake now. Unlike in the past, our border security establishment actively engages and physically prevents the incursions by the other side. We remove illegal constructions like jeep tracks and listening posts. Indian troops have destroyed the watchtower and a camera installed on a PLA hut in Deep Sung Plains area in September 2015. In a 72-day standoff at Doklam Tri-Junction between the Tibet, Bhutan and India, the Indian forces together with their Bhutanese counterparts stalled the construction of the road by Chinese that would have shifted the Tri-Junction southwards. After India's strategic interests, India refused to lower the army presence in there, leading finally to the withdrawal of Chinese forces from the area. Considered a diplomatic victory for India, Doklam highlighted India's new border security doctrine of the proactive diplomacy together with the firm ground positioning. In the Arthashastra, Kautilya highlighted the need for deterrent military might to demonstrate strong national power. India is committed to peace with China, but not one of the graveyard. We need Kautilya's doctrine to defeat the two soothsaying tactics of the war as an art of deception. This is regarding the standoff talks between India and China, how they intervened and encroached in the line of actual control. You see the red line. This is the second article. India must keep its focus on primary objectives to restore the status quo ante of north and front lines. This is also regarding as details of on the Monday night's encounter in Galwan Valley came into the view. There is a growing national outrage at the killing of Indian soldiers who went on a disengagement mission. Adding insult to the injury, senior Chinese military official, diplomats and the political leadership have put a blame squarely on India, but as the South Bloc statement put it, it was a PLA that sought to alter the status quo, and more responsible approach on Beijing's part would have avoided significant numbers of deaths on both sides. Chinese soldiers took premeditated and planned action that was directly responsible for Monday's clash. Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar had told his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in a phone conversation, while blaming the Indian Army for unfortunate confrontation on Monday night and warning Delhi that is prepared for further escalation. This is regarding the status quo ante. Keeping the count fatality rate is a key metric in the battle against the coronavirus. Our states must urgently correct lacks and ambiguities. This particular article focuses upon the count and metric and the stats of coronavirus cases. Unpacking the reform ordinances on agriculture show unwise haste may do harm along with the goods. Just of as all ordinances aren't reforms, all reforms are in the 1991 movement for agriculture. The ordinances announced recently to facilitate trade in agriculture produce were historically resisted by the bureaucracy and the states. Pent-up frustrations at repeatedly falling to change the status quo and depress farmer livelihood, and also the pressure of the PMO seeking the instant delivery has established the introducing the ordinance rather than bills. Due to the unisolation of middlemen, that is Arhatiyas, and their financial clout, politicians in the states have been reluctant to amend agriculture marketing laws, which are exploitative and don't follow farmers to receive the fair price, rather than coax the states financially to correct the markets. An unregulated marketplace have been created where 15 crore farmers will be exposed to skullduggery of the traders. Imagine the mayhem in the stock market of if ROC and SEBI were similarly made redundant. Regarding the agriculture sector and the reforms in the ordinances of the agriculture should unwise the haste. The final article is US Supreme Court protects workplaces' right of gay and trans people. Other nations should follow the suit. In a landmark ruling, which deserves wide emulation, in which the significant victory of LGBTQ people in America, the US Supreme Court had protected the gay and transgender people from the discrimination in the workplaces. A lawyer of meaning had to be imposed in the Title 7 of US Civil Rights Act, which prohibits employment discrimination based on the race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. Enacted in 1964 before the sexual revolution, and Stonewall Rights in 1969, which kick-started the gay liberation movement in the US. It also read sexual discrimination as unfairness to women or men. Questions of sexual orientation were unaddressed in almost all the states of jurisdiction. This is clearly inadequate for the present, when people identify themselves in a social media by declaring preferred personal pronouns. Now, on the basis of two lawsuits, one is involving gay men who were fired, and another concerning the trans women who were prevented from expressing their chosen identity in the workplace. This is regarding the good work. A US Supreme Court protects the workplace rights for gay and transgender people. That's the end of analysis of Indian Express newspaper. If you're first to my channel, I request you all to subscribe so that you can receive the further updates. And thanks for joining me. I am Prashant. Have a great day.